Good day to everyone. Good day, and thank you for joining the Truth to Freedom podcast. My name is James Parker, and I'm here with my co-host Quentin Williams. How you doing, Quentin?
Doing well. How are you?
Everything is awesome, sir. I can't complain. We want to thank everybody joining our podcast. We want you to make sure that you subscribe, like, give a review, and share this podcast because we want this information to get out to the American public because this is real talk for real people. As we said in our last podcast, this isn't a podcast about bashing nobody. We're not going after anybody. We're not using this as something against the Democrats or the Republicans. We want the truth to get out to the American public. We want to spark conversation, and we also want people to start realizing just who actually holds the power. And it's not government, it's the people. And so that's our objective, and that's what we're trying to get out. And so we need your help. So make sure that y'all subscribe to this podcast, like this podcast, share this podcast, leave a review, because the more you do that, the more it gets out. So anyway, uh, for y'all that don't know, our friend here, Mr. Quentin, just had a little baby girl. Yeah. So how's she doing there, Mr. Quentin?
She's doing well. She's sleeping longer. She's gaining weight. So, you know, it's been good.
Awesome. And what's her name?
Isla, ILA.
Oh, okay. Cool. I like that. I like that. Awesome. And his mother doing well?
She is doing well. No major complications.
That's
She's getting
awesome.
right back to health.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Good to hear. Wow, that's awesome. So, as you know, Quentin, we are in our local elections here in North Carolina. Right now, I think early voting is going on, and I don't know. Have you? I haven't noticed a lot of people going out to do early voting. Maybe I'm not there at the right time, or maybe just early voting is flowing enough to keep the traffic down. But I know I drive past some of the polling sites, and I don't see a whole lot of people out there. What about you?
No, I agree. I haven't seen a whole lot of people, just a few people at a time. I actually went to the library about a week ago, and that's what they're doing. One of the early voting polls. But I didn't see a whole lot of people, maybe two or three people the whole time I was there.
Yeah, I never I don't know. It's like you gotta rile up the people in order to get them to come out. But I mean, one of the positive things about voting, even though we can probably have a whole conversation about voting because there's a lot of things to be need to be changed about voting. But the one good thing they've implemented is early voting because I mean to be able to just go to a designating voting site and not the one that you're assigned to, um, and it's open for that for the week. I think it's at least open for the week or for a certain period of time, um, till they actually come up with the actual election. I don't understand why more people don't take advantage of it. What kind of conversation you're hearing?
I agree with you. Um, I think it is like you said, you could just go to a station. You don't have to go to where you're assigned. Um, like here in Durham, you could just go to the downtown library, which is really big. Instead of going to like some small place, like a small church, and there's a line outside the door, you gotta wait in. Then you gotta vote before the day ends. So, but I hadn't heard much else.
You think what's uh what's the lieutenant governor, black guy is always loud and boisterous? because
Mark Roberson.
that's him. Because he's supposed to be running for governor. I don't know what his chances are, but uh, he's quite an interesting character.
No, he is. Yeah, I've seen some of his campaign ads, and I know a few months ago they were attacking him. Like they tend to do. They dig up whatever dirt they can find about you. That's just politics, right?
Yeah.
But they were attacking him because he said something anti-Semitic, maybe like a few years ago. But being that we have the whole Israel and Hamas thing going on right now, they were just kind of using it to make him look bad.
Which is typical. Which is typical.
Yeah,
And I mean, we've had this conversation before. So we spend now probably, when you add it all up, billions across America in political campaigns. I mean, people donate lots of money. I don't want to make it seem, uh, don't want to exaggerate, but a lot of money is poured into uh, politics and campaign running and commercials. And I mean, they actually have committees. Their whole purpose is to find dirt, find things that they can put out there, and then they put a commercial together. They present the commercial. The political the candidate running has to approve it,
yep,
because you're endorsing it. His name's going to be tied to it, so he has to approve it. Unless if they don't get his name, they got to say not affiliated with that. You know what I'm saying? They got to say that they're not affiliated. That this is
yep.
uh, an independent company that is putting this out there. But it's just sad for the amount of money that is poured into these political parties and such not, and just to dig up stuff and uh cause havoc, just how much more we can do with that money, uh funneling it into other areas that are really needing funding to help other people. So I don't know. What do you think?
Absolutely, I agree. And I can use um, Michael Bloomberg as an example.
Uh-huh.
So that year that he ran, they said the amount of money he spent on TV time, he could have fixed Flint's water crisis.
Wow. See,
It
that's
was a,
powerful.
it was a, yeah, it was a ridiculous amount of money.
Wow. And I mean, and that's and you just bring up a good point. So Flint, Michigan's water issues with their infrastructure, um, that just didn't happen overnight. That was an ongoing problem that the government and the infrastructure just ignored. So my question is, what happened to the money that taxpayers were paying to keep the infrastructure going? That just didn't have that was a deterioration over years, to the point that now the water was contaminated and they knew it and was still letting that water flow out, and the people was drinking it. Um, it wasn't until it was brought to light that all of a sudden, they, shut the water off and had to get bottled water to the people and all this other stuff. But my question is, what happened to the money? What happened to the taxpayers' money that was supposed to keep the infrastructure going?
That's right.
That's what they need to be investigating about. But, back to the political thing again, uh, and then, you know, the money's supposed to be for the campaign, to run, commercial, to pay the campaign staff and things of that nature. So I'm just wondering, just how regulated is the money? I know they get audited and stuff, but I just wonder just how much of an oversight or overseeing that they see about this money, because that's a lot of money to be flown in some of these campaign camps. Uh, What do you think? I don't think they really regulate that money like they claim they do.
No, I don't think so either. I think each independent person that is running, you know, they just hire somebody to do all this stuff for them. But for Michael Bloomberg, him specifically, he used it. I mean, he's a wealthy man, so money he spent was his. You know, he didn't necessarily have to go through raising money that somebody else would have had to do.
Yeah, that's sad. I mean, I shouldn't say it's sad. That's crazy for a person to have that kind of money. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? That you just that's he's paying for $1 billion commercial, $1 million commercial, and that's like us going out there buying a Big Mac. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's nothing for him to do that. That's a lot
pocket
of
change.
money. Exactly. Pocket change.
Yeah.
You are correct, sir. Wow.
You know,
Uh-huh.
this conversation, what we're talking about, money and politics, goes off into another conversation, which is why they spend as much money as they do. Why do they need to raise as much money as they do? And it's been increasing, with each presidential election, it just keeps increasing. The candidates have to raise a certain amount of money just to qualify for the debate. It doesn't matter how popular they are, it doesn't matter the amount of votes they get. If they don't raise the money, then they're out.
And that's crazy because I don't understand why would that even be a viable uh, qualifier for that. That's crazy. They ought to
Yeah.
let everybody just run. The people that's run, let them have the debates, and then let the people vote as such. Because you just lock out a whole lot of people that's probably more qualified than who's running to run, but they can't raise that kind of funding. I mean, it's like a moot point. Um,
Yeah.
it's that's crazy. I don't understand how here we are, 2024, and now for y'all those listening to this podcast, this is why we started this podcast because y'all need to think about this. Listen to what we're talking about. I really want y'all to digest this. Don't go off and don't have a hissy fit. Listen to this. This is 2024, and we have had issues with elections going back into the 60s and 50s. It's always been an issue with the election. And yet we've done nothing to improve our elections. The only thing that's been improved is that with the early voting. Other than that, they've been redistricting uh states to try to make it more favorable for one party to another. They keep coming up with the voter ID. Everything that they come up with when it comes to politics and campaigning is always something that's going to keep people out or keep people down. It's nothing that is done to make the election process better and more fair. Case in point, this electoral whatever that they go by, that I can have the popular vote or I can have the votes, but if I got the other guy has the electoral, I forget what they call it now. If he has those, then he's determined the winner. I understand when they did that back in the day because at that time some states didn't have the population in order to compete, and that was the way to get them. But okay, but most states got enough people to compete. They need to do away with that. I don't know. What do you think?
No, absolutely. It's an old, outdated system, just like a lot of the laws that we have on the books. They don't work, and they add more, um, you know, issues than they help.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, they were good in that time. It was needed, but it's not needed no more. So we need to update it.
Speaking of law, I always wonder why don't we have a it seemed like every so many years they should go back through the books to see what kind of laws are on the books because there's still laws on the books that's like back from the 50s and 30s that if you pull it up, it's still liable law, and you can use it to your defense to get away with murder in some cases. Um, I mean, there's laws here in North Carolina in some of these little small towns that at a certain time of the day, they dug this up. There's a certain, I forget what county, whatever, it was some small town. At a certain time of the day, you could take your wife to the county courthouse on the county steps and beat her butt and get away with it. This is a
Wow.
law that somebody can utilize to beat their wife. Because, hey, baby, let's take a little road trip. And of course, she wants to say, yeah, let's go ride. We ride. Yeah, where are we going? Well, I want to take you to a little place, this little something I saw on TV, just so we can go see it. And we go to this little town. I ain't never heard of this little town before. Where we at? Well, I just want to show you something. Well, come on, let's go see the courthouse and look at the historical stuff. Okay, well, it looks okay. Get up on the steps and then just beat the living
Yeah.
and get back in your car and go home because it was the law. I really wish they would develop a system that every so many years that they need to go back through the laws and reevaluate what's feasible and what's not, because we keep, like you said, we just keep adding law on top of laws on top of laws. Um, yeah, it's crazy. I'm sorry, talking too much. What do you say, Quentin?
I don't know. I agree absolutely. We talk about, moving forward as a country. I mean, that's one of the ways to do it. We go through and get rid of this old outdated stuff that doesn't serve us as a whole.
Exactly, exactly. And man, like in South Carolina, so going back to the election, so South Carolina had the election there. Of course, Trump won. Uh, yeah, so he won, and but she what's her name? Jill, whatever.
Nikki Haley.
Yeah, thank you. She, she's vowed to keep going. Bless her heart. Um, you don't win your own state, which I'm shocked. But no, I'm not shocked. This is how twisted America is. Our loyalties really, really, I don't know. Our loyalties, it's like we're just that crowd mentality. It's
Yep.
just, it's just whoever's got the best logo, slogan, and we all just go for it. And it's just sad. People, wake up. Y'all need to be independent thinkers. Stop following parties. The days of the Democratic and the Republican Party needs to come to an end. Everybody needs to be independent and vote on the merits of the person, not the party. Because if you look at it, neither one of them, Democrats or the Republicans, have done anybody any good. They haven't fixed anything, nothing. And all they do is keep stuff going, and then they'll tell you we're going to fix it. And then once you vote back in office, they don't even talk about it no more until the next election. Meantime, we here struggling, trying to pay bills, gas prices keep going up, child care is out the roof, roads all tore up, and now they want to bring online betting into North Carolina. Now, how was that important enough that they voted that in to do that, but you can't give the teachers a raise. You can't help the police department. You can't do this. You can't do that. But we could get gambling in here. We'll get you to spend your money. So between the education lottery and online betting, everybody gonna be broke because they're gonna be trying to win that $1 million prize.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, it's like we invest more in alcohol and anything else that has nothing to do with nothing, and that's fine. But stuff that we need to be focusing on, education, probably the worst thing in North Carolina that they have destroyed systematically. Because education in North Carolina used to be the joint. It used to be good. Um, we had trade in school. We had basic living skills in school. We had all kind of stuff. School was fun. School was a place of learning. We ain't had nobody shooting and killing people all over the place. But now it's a battleground, and they've taken all the resources out of the public schools and channeled them into all these charter schools and all these other schools that people can't get into because you got to wait on a waiting list. And but this is where we at. So again, people, you need to wake up, stop following the party. You need to be independent.
Absolutely. And
So,
like talking about the education system,
mhm.
like you said about the charters, it's not to where we're educating. You know how they used to say we're going to educate the young minds of America, the future of America,
Yeah, I remember that.
and now it's just the money. This is whoever can afford it gets the best education.
That's what it's coming to. The haves and the have-nots.
Yeah,
So, oh, I forgot to tell you. Um, so the Koch brothers was well, one of the Koch, I think one Koch brothers did it. Well, the Koch brothers foundation that was the Heritage
yep.
Foundation, um, was was pumping money into what's her name campaign. They pulled out because they said she's not going to be able to do anything. So they pulled out. They was trying to get her. They was flooding her campaign with money to try to keep her going. But once she lost
They
South Carolina, they pulled out.
See, I didn't know that they were funding. The Heritage Foundation was funding her campaign. But that should tell you something that even other, conservative people and Republican don't want Trump.
Exactly. I mean, you're right. That's if you look at it, yeah, they don't even want them. But again, it's this loyalty to a party that ain't doing nobody no good. They need to do away with it, and people need to wake up, stop following the party. You need to be independent, and you need to vote on the merits of the person, not the party, because we got a bunch of people up there on Capitol Hill that need to go. Anytime you pushing people in wheelchairs, they don't even look coherent. They don't even look like they even here. And these are the people that's voting or supposed to be voting things into law that comes down and affects you in some kind of way. These people need to go home. They need to be in a rest home. They need to be somewhere retired on a beach somewhere. And let's get some young, fresh, innovative minds that's going to try to move the country forward and not keep us stuck back in 1960. Because that's what it feels like sometimes.
Absolutely.
Sure, I tell you, man. So I take, well, hey, here you are, a new father. Um, how have y'all talked about how you're going to direct your child's education? Y'all going to homeschool? Um, what are some of your ideas for your child? I mean, because I'm pretty sure it's been a conversation.
Yeah, so we started having conversations, when she first got pregnant. My wife she went to school, to be early childhood educator.
Hmm.
I wanted a homeschooler, but she doesn't want to because she's worried about her being socialized. But even the kids that are homeschooled, they still get to go out and play sports in whatever school district they're in.
Right.
So they can still go to after school programs. They can still play sports. But as of now, I don't know. It's kind of too early to tell. We got a few years before she starts school.
Well, you bring up a good point about homeschool, and I think a lot of people need to research that because they actually have their own network. I was
Yeah,
surprised. I ended up watching it was a documentary on homeschool, and it was about I want to say they were in I want to say it was in Michigan. Anyway, wherever it was, the suburban area, they was having this homeschool. They was following this family. Man, it's a whole network. It's like their own school district network of homeschool. They got an office to go to. They got a curriculum plan that they follow, just like the regular schools give out a curriculum plan. They have a curriculum plan. They form, like you said, they have two options. They can either play sports for the area school district if they so desire, But if not, they got their own sport league within the uh homeschool community that they form their own sporting league, and that's what they play. Their kids play sports. So it's it's not what people think. I'm gonna be honest, I thought the same thing. I thought that if you homeschool your kid, they'll be just socially unfit because they'd be isolated. They won't know how to talk to nobody. They'll just be shy and introverted and all that good stuff. But I was wrong. That is not what happens. It is really a good because now you can ensure your child will get educated and not left behind because that's the other problem you got with education. The teachers are overwhelmed. They pile so many students in these teachers' classrooms. They can't attend to all them students. And if any of them got any learning problems or they're a little behind some of the other students, they get left behind because they don't have the time to deal with them. This is the problem. One of the problems that we have with our public school systems. Y'all keep bombarding the teachers. You give them no power, no control. Um, Kids just acting a fool, and y'all don't do nothing about them. We got resource officers now in the schools, and they getting cursed out by these kids. I mean, you're almost forced to have to homeschool your kid if you want them to be safe and learn something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the other thing. It's bad, as bad as it is, and you have to really think about school shootings.
Yeah.
I mean that shouldn't even be a thought in your mind, but it's been happening so frequent here the last few years that you kind of gotta think about it.
I'm telling you, you're right. You have to. And I mean, and that branches off into a whole nother conversation, but it's obvious that, the children of today have far more exposure to stuff than we ever did growing up. And if you're not monitoring these children, you letting them just go run amok and you're not watching them, you stick them in their room with a computer and you don't have no safeguards on the computer and they in their room to do whatever they want. I mean, that was just like the going back to the Columbine um school shooting. And they was talking about how they were in the garage or the basement putting all this stuff together. How you gonna be in my house putting together a plan to go tear up a school and I don't know about it? Really? Really? Again, that one lady they charged her for her son um shooting up the
This
school.
was a recent one.
Yeah, that's that recent one that they charged her. I haven't
Yeah,
seen the end results of anything, but they charged her. But they should have. That was her kid, and they knew that, and they bought him the gun. Really?
yeah,
And they came out to the school and didn't say anything. So yeah,
yep,
that was the right call. They need to be a lot of things we need to be responsible for. And I'm not saying um I'm saying we, and I mean me too. I mean, in America, we need to be held responsible because we bring kids into the world, and then we don't want to be responsible for them. It's like they're a novelty or something. Oh, I just want to have
yeah,
kids, and you have kids, but then you let them run amok because you don't want to be bothered with them, and then they out here they're a menace to society. No, you have kids, you need to take care of them. You need to learn, help them learn. You need to teach them right from wrong. You need to teach them to be respectful. You need to teach them how to count money and not rely on a computer to tell them how to count money. I mean, all these little basic skills that they should be doing, they don't do because the parents don't teach them. Just saying. That's just my observation. So, what do you think, Quentin?
no, I agree 100%. I think that's one issue, but I think another issue is also that for well-meaning people, a lot of them just don't have time. They're at work, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, and their kid, maybe they're a single parent, their kid is off with a relative or a babysitter, and they really don't see them except on the weekends.
Yeah.
So there's another issue is what people have been talking about is shortening the workday or making it to where families can actually be together.
Exactly. But business owners don't want to hear that. Again, everybody's greedy. It's all about greed. We're just so sinful and greedy that business people don't want to hear that. But um, explain to the people about over in these other countries how they have developed these programs in order to make it a better for everybody. Yeah, because you got a lot of knowledge on it. Give the people some examples.
So last year, I came across an article to where it says that a bunch of companies got together in Europe and they wanted to test out a 4-day work week just to see. And it was supposed to be a trial. It was just, they were monitoring productivity and worker satisfaction and everything.
Mhm.
Now it went so good that they just didn't go to 5 days. They just said this went so well, we're just gonna keep 4-day work week. So they get a 4-day work week, 8 hours still, same pay, and productivity increased. Everybody's happy. I mean, we could do that.
Wow. Did you just say everybody's happy?
Yep. The business owner, the companies, they didn't lose any money. They're not losing any money. They're not losing anything.
Exactly.
Productivity is up. They're making more actually, and the workers are happy. So the turnover is going to be less. There's going to be less call out.
And I think that's where a lot of businesses, corporations, however you want to look at it, I think that's how they lose it. They forget it is the employee that is going to make you or break you. If you having high turnover and you're complaining about you can't keep no employees, then you might want to rethink about how you're doing things because obviously you're doing something that's not creating an environment that employees want to come to work. And not only when they come to work, want to work and make your job, make your business successful and flourish. You have to make, you have to have something in place to make the employee feel valued, like he's worth something to you other than just a body in there working. You have to make him part of the process. Um, we're all human, and we all want to feel appreciated. And nobody just want to go to work 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day, and heck, you can't even come out and say, "Hey, man, I appreciate what you're doing. You're doing a great job." I mean, you can't even do that to motivate that employee to continue to keep working like he's doing. There's a disconnect, man. Yeah, y'all sit up, these people sit up in these corporate offices and have these board meetings and looking at numbers and graphs, and they think that they know it all and we need to cut here and cut there. They need to throw all that out the window. They need to go back to the basics. First of all, they probably need to go back down there to the bottom floor and work so they get to know the business and work their way up. And then they'll know how these employees feel when they have to come in here day in and day out and sweat and do all this other stuff that you won't even do. So I'm sorry. That's my 2 cents.
Absolutely, but it's true though. It's right because when they looking at these numbers and these graphs, they're worried about. They're looking at their bottom line. How much money can we save? They never take into account people's happiness or satisfaction or just being human in general. That's second when it should be first.
Exactly. I mean, you think about it. So if you go back, and I know anybody that's listening to this that's got any age on them will remember this, that you can remember back when the holidays rolled around, especially Thanksgiving and Christmas. Wasn't nobody open on Thanksgiving. The only thing was open was a 7-Eleven. Little convenience store, probably the only thing open. But other than that, grocery store, you had to get make sure you got your groceries the day before, because after that night they closed. They wouldn't open it back up till later, later on that week. And same with Christmas. Most people be closed from Christmas to New Year. I mean, people took that time to be with their families and just relax. We worked hard all year, and this was a time for everybody. And then somebody came up with the grand idea to start having stores open on Friday after Thanksgiving and start calling it Black Friday and all this other stuff. And people just lost their minds. Like they never bought a TV before. They never bought this and never bought that. Now you're willing to eat your turkey and then go pitch a tent outside a store and wait for it to open Friday morning to buy a TV. I don't get it, America. We got to do better. I just don't get it.
No, absolutely. You know, uh, American culture, we push consumerism so hard, so much. I think that for a lot of people, it's just part of their identity.
Evidently. Hey, wasn't you telling me about uh the owners for Chick-fil-A? They were being sued because somebody want them to open on Sunday. Do
I
you
think
remember?
that was an article. Vaguely, I don't remember the details, but I do remember seeing an article about it.
Yeah, I could remember. I thought we had yeah, because I believe we had a conversation about it. But anyway, y'all can probably look it up. But supposedly some lady was like, where was it at? Because it was something about the mayor or somebody was talking about they supposed to be open. They need them to be open on Sunday. And so they were going to sue them to make them open on Sunday. This owner has religious value. This owner has, some biblical characters that he's saying that Sunday is the Lord's day. Sunday is a day of rest. Now I'm open Monday through Saturday, but the Sunday is a day of rest. What's wrong with that? I applaud him. I mean, if you ever go to Chick-fil-A, their employees look happy. They got plenty of employees that are working. And so evidently whatever he's doing is working for him because they're very successful. Anytime you go by Chick-fil-A, there's cars out the yin yang trying to get that Chick-fil-A sandwich. But why would somebody want to destroy that? Talking about they need to be open on Sunday so you can get a Chick-fil-A sandwich on Sunday? Really? You need to go buy it on Saturday night and
Yep,
put it in refrigerators. Then you can put it in the microwave on Sunday if you really want one that bad.
absolutely. People just selfish and entitled.
Man, it's crazy. I appreciate you sending me that article about that guy. What is Red Mill? Um,
Bob's Red Mill.
yes, Bob's Red Mill. Now that's a story. I'm pretty sure any corporate CEO read it, he'll be like, man, that guy's crazy. But how can you call him crazy when he's been successful? He started from the ground up. Him and his wife started the business, and now it's a multi-million-dollar business, still making money. And he ended up, giving it to his employees. He made his employees part of the business. So evidently, what he did was successful because that's a successful business, and they got good products, from what my man Quentin tells me.
They do. They have really good products. They're all natural, minimally processed. Sells all kinds of oatmeal, grits, flour, all different types of flour at that. It's just not, he's got a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, he transferred his business to his 700 employees to what you would call, I'm not sure if it classifies as a co-op, but I've heard people calling it a co-op. But
Mhm.
co-ops aren't anything new. We actually have a co-op grocery store here in Durham.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a business where the people who work there actually own it and they make the decisions about, day-to-day operations.
Wow. So you're invested. I mean, you can't ask for nothing better than that. People that are invested in something are going to give you their best because it's going to be up to them
Absolutely.
whether it fails or succeed. So why would you not want your people invested into the business in order to make it a better business? And then we also, like you said, we need to get out of this mindset of overachieving, uh, consumer driven consumption, gotta have more, gotta work harder to make more. I gotta have more. I gotta have it now. I gotta have more. I gotta have the latest and greatest. It's a bad uh it is a bad philosophy that we have pumped into America over the years, and it's only gotten worse. I mean, you got a lot of uh, motivational speakers that talk on that. In order to achieve, you got to do this and you got to do that. You got to get the latest and the greatest. You got to get the next degree. You got to do this. You got to do that. And at the end of the day, you can't take none of that with you. When it's all said and done, and you sitting 6 feet under, or they done put you in the oven and burnt you up, either way, that's it. End the story. And all you're gonna do is leave stuff here for people to fight over. That's all that's gonna happen. They're gonna be back here fighting over it, and they ain't earned none of it, but they'll fight over it. They'll fight tooth and nail. They'll sue you for stuff that they ain't had nothing to do with, but they'll sue you. They'll come out the woodwork. You see it all the time. Johnny Ray. I ain't seen Johnny Ray since I don't know when, but he sure came out the woodwork now when Uncle George died and he left a big inheritance, and here he is. He's trying to get his cut. So I don't know. I
Yep,
mean,
absolutely.
we got we got a lot of clean again, people. That's why we got this podcast out here. We want y'all to think. We want y'all to start looking at stuff and say, that really don't make a whole lot of sense. And start looking at ways that make your life easier and better. Is it worth working the hours that you work, or would you rather spend time with your family? I mean, if you want to spend time with your family, maybe you're gonna have to cut back on some stuff. Maybe you're gonna have to downsize. Maybe you don't need that Lexus that's sitting out there in the yard. Maybe you need a Honda. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's ways to do things. It's depending on what you want to do. I mean, you can continue to do what you're doing, and if you're happy doing it, then God bless you. You keep on doing it. But if you're not happy, you might want to take a look at your life and reevaluate. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Yep, I agree.
But anything else you want to jaw over, or anything cross your mind? It's just so much
Not,
going
not
on. I don't know tell you.
it is, and we could spend days just talking about just something that happened yesterday.
You got that right.
But no, I don't. Not at the moment. I don't have anything in my head. I'm gonna actually do some more research myself, and I'll send you some what I find. We could talk about next time.
Sound like a plan, my brother. I really do. As always, I enjoy talking to my brother Quentin. Again, just so to give y'all some history, we're co-workers, and we would be having these conversations at work. And it just dawned on me that, this is thought-provoking conversations that we need to let people hear this conversation, hopefully to get them to have a conversation in their family, and maybe to get people to start thinking. Because again, I ain't trying to bash nobody. I mean, we got our views on Republican Party and the Democrat Party and a whole lot of other stuff. But to come out here and just start bashing and talking junk and all this other stuff, that's not going to solve the problem. What's going to solve the problem is people actually stop, look, think, analyze. You gotta start thinking for yourself. And so we both agree that it's time for the two parties to just disintegrate. And so we want everybody to realize that you need to be independent and you need to vote on the merits of the person and not the party. Yeah, everybody needs to be independent, because until we change that philosophy, we just gonna keep going back and forth with the same crap over and over again. But let me tell y'all something. The border situation with the people coming across the border has been an issue for how many years now? Do you know they could have solved this years ago? But they don't want to solve it. You don't know why? Because it's a political hot topic that when it comes time for elections, they use it for their advantage to get y'all riled up, to get y'all to vote for them, just for them to let it go, and it becomes an issue at the next election. They could have been fixed that, just like Social Security could have been fixed. The IRS could have been fixed. They're not going to fix none of this stuff because it keeps everybody hyped up when it comes time for elections. So people wake up. Stop. Stop listening to the rhetoric. Stop watching Fox News. Stop watching all that stuff out there and start doing your own investigation, your own research, and you vote on the merits, not the party. I'm sorry, Quinn. What you got to add?
Nothing much. I agree with everything you said.
All right, my bro. Well, I'm gonna let you go because I know you got baby duties and I got some stuff I need to do. Well, folks, we appreciate you listening to this podcast. We hope you got something out of it. Again, subscribe, like, share, leave a review. That helps others to come to find this podcast. And again, we hope what we talked about got you to thinking, and hope that you take things into consideration and start being an independent person and not a party person. So until the next time, my name is James Parker with my man Quentin Williams, and we appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you on the next time on the podcast Truth to Freedom, Real Talk, Real People. Y'all have a good evening. Later, Quentin.
See you later.